Ah! Oh dear, sorry, you caught me at a very important time. Hello everybody. We are getting ready here. I couldn't believe it when I looked at the numbers today. I honestly couldn't believe it. We are on our 20th show! Hooray! You can hear all of the crowds that are not here because we're not allowed any crowds. But if we were having crowds, we'd have a massive party today. So that's why I thought I'd blow up a balloon or two. I'll have to get back to that later on. We have had such a busy weekend. It's been, because it was bank holiday weekend and it was Easter weekend as well, so many things happened. On Saturday, we got mentioned in the Lancashire Telegraph, which is a brilliant thing. That's a newspaper that goes out to all of the people in Lancashire, which is the county that I live in. It was amazing. They did a big article on us, and you can see that article online. If you go to pauljenkinspoet, you can click on it and read all about it. And they mention all the poems that we've been doing here. There's a picture of all this going on. And there's a mention about the poems you've been writing as well. And everyone giving it a massive thumbs up and saying that you're doing brilliant work. So well done, everybody. We're getting famous. That's amazing, isn't it? And then, on top of that, on Sunday, my very good friend Claire Balkind, she got in contact because I wrote a poem for her family tips and lockdown page, which is where I know loads and loads of your mums and dads and parents and carers are looking for finding out all those different ideas to do. And they have put their poem, one of my poems, on their site as well. And you can go and see that poem later on today. It's been a really, really busy weekend. Loads of stuff that has been done. But I'm pretty sure you've been busy as well, because you've been busy sending your poems to us and giving us permission to use the poems that you've been writing, either in school when you were still in school or now. And we've got loads of them to share. And as I mentioned on Friday when we were having our wibbly wobbly word day, this is Superheroes Week. Now there's one thing that superheroes know, and that's that you are full of confidence. Da, 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 da. And I thought I'd start today with a poem I wrote called Little Ball of Confidence. Because I know that sometimes we can feel a bit, like that. Sometimes we wake up in the day and think, and that's no good. We need something to inspire us, to get us going. And sometimes some words can help. So I wrote this poem. I'm uncatalogable. I'm dotty and illogical. I'm totally improbable. I'm unique in every way. I think that there is not at all a person who's comparable, who's young or old or big or small, or just like me today. I'm quick and slick and fanciful. I'm upbeat, bold and beautiful. I'm eminently suitable for what's in store today. That's why I am a rolling ball. That's totally unstoppable. You'll never take me for a fool. I rock in every way. And that's how I'm feeling today. I felt, this morning I woke up feeling a bit, But as the day's gone on, I thought, I'm going to do this. I'm going to have a fantastic afternoon. And now look, we're in the middle of getting ready for a party for our 20th birthday. Feeling quite excited about this afternoon now. So that one was called Little Ball of Confidence. Maybe you could write a poem about just being upbeat and feeling really positive about everything. After all, we've got a really long holiday. What could be better than that? So yeah, we've got loads of stuff that's going on. Yesterday, I had a chance to speak to a really lovely poet. Now, we mentioned one of his poems a little bit earlier on in the series, and it's a gentleman called Joshua Siegel. Now, Josh was brilliant yesterday. He came on my radio show on Rossendale Radio, and we had a long chat about poetry, and we had a long chat about his work working with schools and with children in schools. And one of the things he mentioned to me was that he'd written a poem all about one of his favourite types of animal. And I said, what type of animal is it? And he said, I can't tell you, it's a riddle. Now, as it turns out, it fits perfectly with our Superheroes Week because it reminded me of a cartoon that I used to watch a long, long time ago, which isn't even on anymore. And I won't tell you about the cartoon until the end. But I'm going to read Joshua Siegel's poem to you. And I want you to see if you can guess from his poem what kind of animal it is. And then at the end, I'll show you a picture of my cartoon, my superhero cartoon that I used to watch when I was a kid. This one's called Cant Bear It. Now that should give you a clue before we start. Can't bear it. I'm small and I'm grey. I asleep in the day. My body is covered in hair. I hang out in trees. And listen up, please. The one thing I'm not is a bear. I'm not grizzly or polar. I chew with my molars because I eat leaves and not meat. I'm not very scary and I'm not at all beary. I'm cute and I'm cuddly and sweet. I'm friends with the roo and the wallaby too. And the wombat is quite a good mate. We all live in Oz. And we're happy because our lives are relaxing and great. So please don't be careless. We're totally bearless. You won't find a bear around here. And if you should dare to call me a bear, well, I won't do anything because I'm cute and small and fluffy and harmless and adorable and totally unlike a bear. And there you go, that's Joshua Siegel's poem, Can't Bear It. Now, did you guess what kind of animal that could be? Lives in Australia and is cute and is fluffy, lives in trees, eat leaves. Of course it is. It's a koala. And that reminded me of my cartoon that I used to watch when I was a kid. And I looked it up. It was 1981 that this cartoon came out. So that shows you how long ago it was. And here is a picture of that particular one. He was called Quickie Koala. Okay? And he was there was a wolf that was always trying to catch him. But he could never be caught by the wolf because he had superpowers. And his superpowers were that he could go really, 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 really fast. He could move so quick. That's why they called him Quickie Koala. And every single episode, the wolf would try and catch him and Quickie Koala would get away. And he had he was a superpowered koala. So there you go. I thought that would be a perfect one to share. Bear in mind that Josh's poem was there today. So, Quickie Koala. I think somewhere we'll find a space for Quickie Koala on the wall. Now, the most people that are superheroes during this whole thing are most definitely you. Because honestly, I don't know when I was a kid. I don't know how I would have coped sometimes with the long days. Because I remember the summer holidays. The summer holidays were 6 weeks long every year. And I remember thinking that took forever. Well, we've already been 4 weeks and I have hardly heard of any children complaining or moaning or worrying. Everyone that I've seen online has been really happy, doing loads of activities, doing loads of really cool stuff. I think you're doing a brilliant job. I reckon you're the superheroes at the moment. Now, when I've been looking online, I've been finding some absolutely fantastic work. And we always make sure we feature poets, young and old, on here. And the last couple of weeks, we've had a lot more poems that we've seen from teenagers. People writing and thinking, you know what, this is how it feels at the moment. And this one is by a young girl called Lynette. Now, Lynette wrote a poem with her teacher. She runs poetry workshops, and they've been doing online workshops at the moment. So if you look at Kate Clancy online, her Twitter page, she's got loads and loads of poems that her children have written. And Kate got in contact with Kate and asked if we could use this one. And this one is by Lynette, and it's called Quarantine. I didn't know I'd miss waiting at traffic lights. Waiting for a burst of colour, a static of sound. I didn't know I'd miss noise, crowds, the breath of rain as it beats on parched tarmac, being near enough to hear people's breath. I didn't realise I was only exactly alone when I was walking home from school or to the shops. I didn't realise it was the in-between times that held me together. And I really love that poem because it reminds us of not those big things we used to do, not going out where we're meeting 20, 30, 40 people or when we're in big crowds of people, but actually those moments where you're just standing at a bus stop and there are other people around. Or maybe we were sitting on a train and there were people next to us. Or maybe just sitting in your classroom at school. And it might not be somebody you know, but you know there are people around you. Those are the things I think we all miss a lot, isn't it? And Lynette's really done well to put that into a poem. She's just called it quarantine because that's what we're in, isn't it? That's that special word that we didn't know before. But now everybody's talking about it all the time. That and self-isolation. Did you think 6 weeks ago that you would know what self-isolation was? I didn't. Well, brilliant poem there. And as usual, if you've got a great poem, please send it to pauljenkinspoet@gmail.com and we will do our best to get them on the show. Now, this next poem is from Anna. Now, Anna got in contact last week with a poem, but she's gone one step further this time. She's done us not only a picture, which I'm going to show you in a moment, but she's also done something pretty special poem-wise. She's written something called an acrostic. Now, acrostic poem is a really special kind of poem, and it's one that doesn't have to rhyme. And actually, I've written a poem that doesn't have to rhyme for a little later on. So I thought this would be a really nice one to include today. I remember writing an acrostic poem once, and I'm going to show you this acrostic poem. So you can see, if you can see in the book, the poem, each letter starts with the next line. So basically every line, so the word acrostic, it's got 8 lines and it's got 8 letters. And this poem, it's not one of my greatest poems even, or one of my most favourite poems. It says, acrostic poems loved by teachers, chosen for their visual features. Reading down, you see a word or a phrase that you have learned since you started with your class this wordy puzzle writing task. It's almost like a secret note coded in the verse you wrote. Now that was my acrostic poem, and as you can see, it used the letters A and C and R and O, S, T, I, C to spell out the word acrostic as it went down. And not the most exciting poem, I've got to say. And even I can say that, and it was my poem in my book. Now this one is a little bit more special. It's far more colourful, it's far more exciting, and it definitely talks about superheroes. So what I want you to do is see if you can work out what the acrostic is going to say from when I read it. Thank you, NHS. Helping to protect us. All of us give you our love. NHS staff never give up. Kindness is in your hearts. Your quick work helps others to survive on a daily basis. Us, as a country, applaud you. So what do you think that poem's saying? Of course it's saying, thank you. That's what it's saying. And all the way down there you can see, and really colourful letters as well, thank you. And I think it does deserve a massive thank you to everybody that's involved in working in our health service at the moment, because we know that lots of people are getting ill, but loads of people are being cared for. And this is most definitely going up there on the wall. We'll find a space for Quickie Koala, but we'll definitely find a space for this. Now we're coming towards the end of the show today, and you can see that we're missing a brand new friend up here. And I'm going to show you the brand new friend that we're going to put up, because this is Superheroes Week. Yes, it's SpiderMan. SpiderMan is my favourite superhero of all time. When I was little, I would dream of being Spider-Man and getting my webs and going all the way through the buildings and swinging from building to building. I wonder what Spidey would look like. Yes! Spidey hat! That's who he is! Doesn't he look awesome? Maybe I should do it like this. I should do the whole thing like this. But yes, Spidey looks fantastic in my hat. I'm going to have to put my hat back on, because otherwise you get to see my really scruffy hair. But yes, so this is Spider-Man. Now this poem is inspired actually by our next door neighbour. Now our next door neighbour, right, is quite a small person, right? His name is Alfie, right? And I wrote this poem after this morning I found something in our garden. And it caused me to worry a little bit. And it's just called Spider Down. It's also a poem that doesn't rhyme, which is unlike me. Usually I write rhymers. This is not a rhyming one. When I woke up this morning, Spider-Man was in my garden. Face down, on the grass, looking forlorn, looking beaten, battered and torn. Has he been defeated? His powers depleted? Had the Web King of Web Kings been unseated from his spidery throne? Oh, help! Oh, no! No way! Not Spidey. Was this the end of the story arc of my web-slinging friend? I slowly approached, looking around, trying to find the answer of how the greatest superhero of all time, of any way, of any time ever, could be here, down on the ground, in my garden. And then I spotted Alfie's face pressed up against the patio doors, using all of his mind powers to pick up Peter Parker and send him home, where he belonged. Spidey had jumped out of his hands when they were on an adventure in the garden yesterday. I put him back on the fence. The universe was safe again today. And that's exactly what happened first thing this morning. I found a Spider-Man, a very small Spider-Man, in our garden because Alfie had been playing with him next door and he'd been swinging him from one place to another, and I think he'd swung him too far and he ended up, poof, landed in our garden. So there we go, Spidey. You have been saved today. I saved you. Maybe you can go and save everybody else now, Spider-Man. What do you reckon? Yeah, of course I can, Paul. Oh, thank you very much, Spidey. Right, we'll find a place to put Spider-Man. And of course, if you want to send us your poems, please do send them to pauljenkinspoet@gmail.com. Now, adults, I've also got something special for you. We are running a Twitter poll at the moment. We're doing something called the Ultimate Poetry Slam, where we're putting one poet against another, lots of famous names of poets. So if you go to @teacherwriterpj, which is my Twitter handle as well, if you go on there, you can put your votes in at the moment. We're at the quarter-final stage, and we're going to run this until the end of tomorrow. And we can find out maybe who everyone thinks is the ultimate poet. It's actually just a bit of fun on Twitter. So go to @teacherwriterpj if you want. Well, I will see you all again tomorrow. We'll have some more superhero poems. We've had Spider-Man today. I wonder who we're going to have tomorrow. Maybe you could write us some of your best superhero poetry. I look forward to reading it. In the meantime, we need to get back to our party. Shall I? Shall see you soon!